Well, here we are. You and me, Sergio. This is Real Talk. I am your host, Paul Britton. With me is this guy. You may
This guy.
recognize him as the one who started the whole damn thing. It is Sergio Barrera. Sergio, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Paul. I appreciate it. It's been a few weeks.
Yeah, no, seriously. We were on a tear there where it was just like, I think out of like 4 out of 5 weeks you missed one or something small like that. It was awesome. And then and then the movies went away.
Yeah, exactly. We're approaching a season here again because there's some stuff coming up.
Yeah, like we've got what are you down for the PTA? The One Battle After Another? Is that on your to be watch list? Paul Thomas Anderson?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Got it.
Yeah. Come on, film nerds call it PTA. Get with it.
I must not be a film nerd, but no, absolutely, right. Definitely looking forward to that one.
Okay, cool. So we'll see you in a couple weeks for that. But tonight, sir, we have a Stephen King adaptation, and normally I just automatically say, "Hey, Sergio, there's a Stephen King adaptation coming. You need to come on the show because you are the Stephen King aficionado." This is one I've actually read.
Yeah. In fact, had you read it before, or you just read it?
No, I read this when I was 15, and I said when I read it when I was 15, I said this has to be a movie. And part of the reason why I read it, and I might have been a little older than 15 now that I think about it, but I basically read it when The Running Man came out because it was like a friend of mine was like, "Hey, if you like The Running Man, there's a book, and the book is significantly better than the movie. And by the way, you're gonna also want to read The Long Walk that's in there because it's fucking amazing." And I was like, all right. And so I read The Running Man first, and then I read The Long Walk. And I immediately read The Long Walk again because of how much I loved it. And I just wanted to see the movie adaptation. And that's so cool. We're 30-ish years later and 30 plus years later.
Well, and I'm curious, like at the time that you read it, were you aware of the fact that like pseudonym Richard Bachman was Stephen King? Or
well, so this was because it was the Bachman books compilation that I had.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so I had no idea that when I heard about it, I had no idea that Stephen King ever even did.
Gotcha.
So did you read it before it was released as the compilation in the Bachman books, or is that
I actually did? Yeah.
Okay.
I was in the phase of Richard Bachman before we knew it was Stephen King kind of thing.
Oh, really?
Thinner, The Long Walk, Running Man,
My understanding is that Thinner came out and it was shortly after that it was released.
That it was revealed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's another good one. I've never seen the film, but the book is something else.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Okay. But so you had read The Long Walk and so you read The Long Walk a long time ago.
I did. And I actually was able to do it recently as well, just to refresh my memory. And I'm glad I did. Very glad I did.
Man, it hits differently now.
It really does.
And it's amazing how differently it hits when you realize he wrote this when he was like in his late 20s, early 30s, probably, right about. And it's like in my, being 50, it's like, holy, this is what this book is about. Is just
well, and when you consider also, it hits for various reasons differently because of the times that we're in.
That too.
But also when you think back to, this was 1978.
Yeah.
And so there were so many things that the country had been going through and was going through at the time. And, it's funny how for its time, I imagine people that would have read it back then with an older eye, and more mature eye, they would have been like, oh my God, this is like the times.
Yeah.
Well, here we are this many years later. And it's like, oh man, it's the times.
Yeah.
So very interesting.
Yeah. I think to that end, one of the choices they made in order to not say, hey, we're making this because of our political climate, because I don't think that's why they made it. I just think that
No, I agree.
it's a book that's long overdue. It's a fantastic story. And they figured out, well, the way to make this cheaply is to just remove the entire idea of people watching and get rid of the crowds. Because as soon as you bring crowds into it, your production costs increase significantly. But if you only instead of 100 kids, you only have 50 kids walking, and you get rid of a whole bunch of them, a heck of a lot earlier than when they actually get knocked off in the book. It works out well for you.
Along with that, it's, because I think the reason I said earlier that I'm glad I reread it is because having finished it about a week before the film released, and when I saw it, I remember having thought in the past, this is way too laborious a book to really make an effective film, because I think you would agree there's been Stephen King adaptations across the years, some good, some not so. And so this would have been one that, had they tried to, I really wish I could learn someday about the history of how it finally came to be.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's a bunch of times in which the screenplay writer, struggled with, how do you pare this down, and how do you, pull the necessary without sneaking in well, here's a little Easter egg for those that have read the book. Like, there's some work that was done on this screenplay that I think you would agree is so effective.
So,
that you don't feel like it doesn't honor the book.
Correct. 100%. This is a really, for 99% of the film, and I'm talking specifically about the first 99% of the film.
Yeah.
It's just a straight up retelling.
Yeah.
There's one character that they combine into two characters. There are two characters that they take three characters and break them into two characters, and that third character, they give half of his story to one person and half of his story to another person, and it works.
It does.
I don't think they needed, like, the character Stebbins is one of the ones that in the book, in the movie he starts getting sick. In the book he doesn't get sick. And one of the things that with Stebbins, that throughout the movie, they keep saying, oh wow, you're a weirdo. Like, the movie and they say it throughout the movie. In the book, he's a really fucking crazy freak. The things he says are just absolutely bananas off the wall, and you barely get a scintilla of what he says in the book.
In the
movie. And it's not like he's cruel. It's not like he's an asshole. He's just 100% a realistic nihilist. And it's like, so let's just really quick. The movie, the Long Walk, is about a false sort of post-war America. They make allusions to the war in the movie. In the book, they also make allusions to it, but they actually give it a name. In the book, it's referred to as the corporate wars. In the book, in the movie, they don't really call it that. They set the movie in 1978, which is one of the things I was mentioning earlier, which is I don't think they wanted to imply that this is our political climate right now. I think they wanted to make it clear this is an alternate past that never happened. So, you could certainly read into it and say, oh, well, this could be our future if we're not careful, but whatever, and the situation is, everybody is down on their luck. It's a really bad time. And there's sort of like, a junta is in charge of the United States, and the leader of the junta is just referred to as the major. And he started this thing called the Long Walk, where 50 kids come in from all around the United States and need to walk and walk and walk, and the last person standing living wins a huge prize. And if you slow down or stop walking, you're shot after a certain after 3 warnings. So That's the story. And we're introduced to, we're introduced to, in the book we're probably introduced to about 20 walkers. In the movie we're introduced to probably about 8, I would
Yeah,
say.
I mean, really in depth.
Yeah. And they do a great job of really kind of encapsulating what the 20 walkers were all about in the 8 that we're introduced to in the movie. And as Sergio said, the screenwriter, who, by the way, screenwriter of one of the best movies of last year, Strange Darling, which I'm assuming you haven't seen or even heard of. You have to see this movie.
Okay.
Strange Darling, write it down. Everybody, if you're a regular watcher of the show, I reviewed it last year. Just one of the best movies of last year. And written by him and directed by the dude who directed all but the first Hunger Games movies, among other films. And if they had taken this movie and just put it in the world of Pan Am, I'd have been like, okay, cool. If they just said Hunger Games presents Stephen King's The Long Walk, and just presented it as, the original version of the Hunger Games that then eventually transferred into the Hunger Games, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense, because that's really what this alternate universe feels like.
Yeah, definitely. The feel of the whole, there's so much now. There's so much done now in this whole dystopia, right?
Yeah.
So much content, so many movies, and for a film to commit to it the way this film does, and not necessarily fall into there weren't a lot of tropes that you get from, your typical dystopian movie. It stuck to the premise of the book, which I love.
Yeah.
And they did it in a way that was so simple.
Yes.
That it
really
made it an even more harrowing experience.
Yeah. It really is it's as straightforward a 1 hour and 45 minute experience.
And it starts so fast.
Yeah.
You don't get the title card.
Yeah. Right.
Until after a very significant moment in the beginning.
Right. Exactly. And they do a pretty decent job of moving the time forward as well. They do a really good job of giving you your two favorite characters. There's Ray Garrity and there's Pete McVries, although they kept calling him McVries, and it's spelled Vries, so I don't know why they pronounce it that way. Neither here nor there. I'm going to call him Pete McVries. You're just going to have to deal with it. And those are the two primary characters in the book as well. But it's really Garrity in the book, and then McVries is kind of his best friend. Whereas in the movie, it is clearly those are it's both of them. They're
absolutely.
And just the movie really is about those two characters. And
it really is, yeah.
And instead of, and so one of the things in the book is, as you're reading through the book, and because it can take its time, the book is an allegory for life. I mean, that's just all it is. That is all it is. It's an allegory for life, and the observations of the kids as some of their friends are fall off. Some of their friends become their friends no longer. Things happen, and it's just like this is clearly an allegory for life, and it's masked in this survival thing, whereas the movie is just a survival movie with how do you get through this with a friend, how survival, and it really strips the allegory for life. And I thought that was brilliant. Like as much as I love the allegory for life, and it really hit hard when on my second reading this past, third reading this, this past month. I get it. I get, because it's I don't know how you convey that in an hour 45.
Right, and I think that's the success of the film, is that it willingly let go of that aspect of it and focused on the survival aspect. But the thing I loved about it most was that you saw those efforts being made to try to have relationship, to try to have, and but always under the shadow of,
right,
there can, to steal from Highlander, there can be only one,
right,
you know,
right,
and it added a level of gravity to the whole overall scenario, because every
right,
time someone would say something like, and I'm paraphrasing, but something to the effect of, but we're friends.
right,
It's said, and as the audience, you're sitting there going, yeah, but we know where we're headed,
right.
you know. And so it was so well put together. I mean, you're probably going to talk about this, but I've got to say the two leads,
Yeah. Oh, so good.
I hate to use
Well,
a cliche, but chip off the old block, Cooper Hoffman,
Cooper Hoffman is,
and
yeah,
David Johnson.
yeah,
Just there's a future here of
yeah,
films that, again, I'll start to eat better to see more of their work on the long term.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Cooper Hoffman's already in the sphere of Paul Thomas Anderson, so
Oh yeah,
I hope Paul Thomas Anderson gives him one where he can be an adult. Like that's just literally what I'm looking forward to. But one aspect of the book that's really important to the theme of an allegory for life
mhm,
that is filtered through Stebbins, that doesn't happen in the movie, that I kind of wish had still stayed filtered through Stebbins, but I get it, was the exploration of motivation on what would motivate somebody to do this.
yeah,
And that is just prolific throughout the book.
absolutely,
And the important thing about Stebbins is he's the only one that understands why everybody's there. Like
yeah,
every single person, he knows exactly why they're there. He's just the wise observer. He's like the omniscient narrator
yeah,
almost.
yeah,
Whereas in the movie, that comes about through personal conversations just between the two primary characters. You don't really explore everybody. You just really explore the two primary characters, Pete and Gary.
yeah,
And to that end, they do change both of their motivations.
right,
And then I mentioned that it stays book honest to the book for 99%. That last 1%, I gotta say, because of the change of motivations, I literally, when we got to like, okay, there's about 10 minutes left, what are they can't, how are they going to end this? Because
sure,
the ending in the book would be extremely unsatisfying.
absolutely, absolutely.
Extremely unsatisfying for the way the movie was set up.
Yeah.
Uh,
It
Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, if there was any form of predictability, and maybe I only say this because, again,
Yeah.
like you, I'm familiar with the book. It was that two things. Number one, well, one thing with two thoughts. The ending was not going to be the same as the book, and number one, because to your point, it would be unsatisfactory. Yes, because of how much work would have had to have been done prior to the 10 minutes for it to have any effect.
Right.
And number two, because if I would think that some of the audience for this film are going to be people who've read the book.
Yeah.
So let's give them a twist,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you know, I came out okay with it.
I loved it. I
I was
loved it.
100% okay. There was a little
I
bit of
was
me going,
Oh, yeah.
okay, but I would I mean, I preferred this over what could have happened had they decided to go the whole way with how the book
Right.
goes, because
Right.
the book is pure king in
Yes.
how he leaves things in a
Yes.
lot of his stories.
And it's not satisfying, but it's 100% satisfactory. It's 100%.
Yes.
This is where you leave things with this book,
Right.
because this is where you leave things with life. I mean,
Yeah.
it's whereas in the you could not have done that in the movie.
Right.
There was no way to do that in the movie, and so they changed some things around, and
Mhm.
it was just like this fucking A, that is absolutely how you land that plane
Yeah.
that you decided to
Yeah,
throw up
it had
there.
to be that.
And
So.
yeah. Uh fucking Killer Barkovich.
Oh, jeez.
The kid that they got to play Barkovich.
Yeah.
The other than the the man being, all of the soldiers, the major, the junta and the powers that be being the clear bad guy.
Yeah.
In the book, the secondary bad guy then becomes Crowd. It like capital C Crowd, where in the book the streets are lined with people constantly, and when you go through towns it becomes a much bigger ordeal, and when you go through cities it becomes just an absolute nightmare. And so then Crowd becomes a character in the book, which totally works for the book. And I already mentioned early on they had to remove for the movie. But then the third sort of the tertiary bad guy is this one character called Barkovich, who becomes Killer Barkovich. He's just a nasty thing. And something that's not in the movie that I'm going to say was in the book. Like Stebbins says, Barkovich is just here to see people die.
Right.
Like that's the only reason why he's here.
Yeah.
And like, and that, and that was so insightful in the book, and makes, and like, that's the one thing that they don't mention in the movie, that it's like that would add something to his character, and add a layer to his. The guy who played, they did such a good job with him, I thought.
Absolutely. I sat through that film every time he was on screen going, I've seen him before, couldn't place it. And it wasn't until after when I realized he was in All the Money in the World. And
okay.
Which one of my absolute, maybe not top 10, but it's up there. I love that film.
Okay.
And he was great in it. And so, but this is literally a situation where I look at him and I'm like, and he doesn't age. And years from now, we're going to be talking about how he still looks young.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, really, listen, the strength of this movie out of so many is in large part the cast. They're all so well cast.
Yes.
And they all put in the work.
Yeah.
And when we think about this film from the perspective of the book, and we see how, like you said, characters combined, characters not diminished. I don't like that think that's the right word, but there was less material in their characters,
right?
Yet they still felt fleshed out. You still felt for each of them. It's no surprise to anybody watching that the whole point is many of these boys are going to die, right?
Yeah.
My favorite in terms of, if we go beyond the top two, the leads, the guy that played, let me bring it up. What was his name? Gosh, I have to comment this guy's name because he was so good.
Go ahead.
What was it? I'm trying to find him. Baker, tooting you up.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the character out of all of them.
Yeah.
That just like my heart just tore. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Because he was so, again, for who he was playing, he was just so spot on. But all of them brought such wonderful performances.
Olsen is hilarious in the movie, and he really becomes a composite of literally like 8 different characters from them.
Yeah.
And it's just it's fantastic. And
it is.
Oh Jesus. This is what I wanted. This is 100% what I wanted.
I agree.
I was so happy, and I'm so happy that you were happy. And now we reach the time, Sergio, where unfortunately we have to give ratings rather than just love. But here in Real to Real Talk, we do tacos instead of stars. And if we feel like something deserves a little extra, we add guac rather than do a half a taco. Why? Because nobody eats a half a fucking taco, Sergio.
That's
nobody.
Right. I can vouch for that.
Okay. So, Sergio, where do you land on the long walk?
Listen, for the number of movies we've talked about this week,
I know,
or this year,
yeah,
which has been more than the last couple.
Yeah.
This is my 5. This
Yeah.
was a 5 taco film for me. I really
sure.
loved it.
For sure.
I'll watch it again.
100%.
And it's just I except for the small, I don't even want to call it a hiccup, but at the end my contemplation of like, how do I feel about that?
Yeah.
Barring that, it was
Yeah.
for me a perfect experience. And
Yeah,
so
this is my third. I'm also 5. This is my probably right now my third favorite movie of the year, and
okay.
100% like just so straight up, it's because I love the book. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not even going to pretend. I am 100% tarnished coming into this because I love the book.
Sure.
And my son came with me. He really liked the movie. I hope people go to this was number 4 for the week, and that makes me fucking mad because it was below the new Downton Abbey and below the Conjuring, which came out the week before. That Conjuring movie's ass. People do not go see Conjuring.
I meant to ask you because I've enjoyed that series. I just haven't had a chance to see the last one.
It's as watery nonsense as the last 2 have been. So if the first one's good, the next 2 were perfectly whatever, and this one was perfectly whatever. But I want to praise Long Walk, and I hope my hope is that Long Walk has some legs to it, pun intended, 100%, and that it sticks around and it doesn't drop too much. The number 1 movie of the year I'm going to be talking about here in a second. I want you to hang around because I'm only going to talk about this movie for 5 seconds. So, the next movie is Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, Infinity Castle. This is the next. I'm assuming you have not seen any of Demon Slayer. Do you even know what Demon Slayer is?
I know what Demon Slayer is. I started watching the anime.
Yeah.
Literally from episode 1. Recently, I haven't really continued it, but I have to ask you, since we're going to talk about it, or since you're going to talk about it, is this a standalone? Like, or do you have to have watched something previous?
No, you have to have been caught up. Like, you have to catch yourself up. Like, all right. So before Demon Slayer, this is pre Demon Slayer. I literally had never watched a single anime in my entire life.
Okay.
And I mean that, like, there was not a single anime that I ever watched in my entire life. My spouse Jen, they were told, they started getting into anime and were told by friends, you should watch Demon Slayer. They watched 1 episode, and Paul, you said, Paul, you'd really like this, and I was hooked instantly. I was hooked.
Gotcha.
Instantaneously. I loved it. I have been on top of it throughout. I even started reading the manga, but I stopped reading the manga after I think the 4th storyline, just because it was kind of like the anime is so spot on with the manga that there's no point of I'll get everything from the anime.
Is this one? I haven't looked in detail. Is this one of those animes that's like 1,000 episodes and there's no hope of me catching up to be able to understand the film?
There's a definite ending. There the manga is over. There's going to be 3 more, this movie and then 2 more. So it's finishing with 3 movies. My understanding is they're not going to so on the previous 3 storylines, they released a movie, and then about a month later they released the expanded anime. So they would release a 2-hour movie, and then you would get 3.5 hours worth of anime. My understanding is that this time they're just for the final, I think there's 8 more books, starting, including this one. My understanding is they're going to do just 3 movies, and this movie was 2.5 hours, which was longer than the last 3 movies were. Yeah. And I'm just going to tell you, again, this is one of those things where I'm all in already, and this was fucking amazing.
Awesome.
And everybody should go watch it if you're already doing Demon Slayer, and if you've never done any anime before, start with Demon Slayer. It's perfect. And if you've done Demon Slayer before and you put it down for a little bit, pick it back up, and maybe you can go see this in the movie theaters. Otherwise, just wait for it to stream. Whatever, I don't care.
So I can't start here.
Infinity Castle. Do not start here. And it's funny because I sat in the theater during the first 5 minutes, and I thought to myself, my God, I can't even imagine somebody coming in blind on this because it would be just so fucking weird.
Yeah.
It would be so weird, but visually it would be amazing because
Awesome.
the key thing with the Demon Slayer is they got the best possible animation studio to do these, and the visual style is just unfucking believable, and to see it up on a big screen was unfucking believable. This thing made $70 million this weekend, Sergio.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Wow.
$70 million. The next movie, the Downton Abbey didn't even I think it barely cracked 20. Like I don't remember exactly where it landed. But yeah, like number 2 was like 22, 23, something like that.
Yeah.
70 million.
That's insane.
Yeah, and
Love
it deserved it. It was amazing.
I'm gonna do some research on how I have to figure out how to get through all the Demon Slayer because now I'm curious. So
catch up. I will not be here next week because I'm not going to get to see any movies. I'm going to be in Dallas instead, and you're not neck of the woods, but certainly your home state.
Yep.
I'm going from the frying pan to the fire. I feel like, but that's okay. And but we'll see you in 2 weeks for I believe it. No, we'll see you in 3 weeks for no, it is 2 weeks.
It is 2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll see you in 2 weeks for One Battle After Another.
Are you going to include by any chance him?
That comes out this weekend. If you
is it this weekend?
Yeah, that comes out this weekend. If you go see it and you want to do it, let me know before.
This one's going to surprise you.
Yeah.
I hope to get to all. If you do this one as well, I'll try to get to all 3.
Okay.
The Colin Farrell, Margot Robbie, One Big Bold.
I want to see that more than anything.
I do too. I saw the preview, and it's not usually my wheelhouse, but there was something about the trailer that I was like, I need to see this.
And here's the thing. I don't know that I'll go out of my way to go and see him. I am absolutely going to go see The Big Bold Beautiful Journey.
Okay. If you prioritize those 2, then I will as well.
Yeah, I am 100% going to see The Big Bold Beautiful Journey. Sorry, Sergio, I'm not going to get to see Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie. That's an animated movie coming out the same weekend as One Battle After Another. But yeah, so.
All right. Well, we'll be ready for those 2 at least.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Okay. All right, Sergio, close this up.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for watching and commenting. Paul, as always, it's a pleasure. I look forward to doing this some more. I think we got a busy year coming up, busy rest of the year coming up. So I was excited. So don't forget, as we always say, you're awesome, you're amazing, and the world's a better place because you are in it.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Paul.